And thank you so very much, Eric, for hopping on this podcast with me. So, if you guys don't already know, Eric is a 25-year-old fitness coach and entrepreneur. He originally was started out in Georgia, but he moved to Houston 3 years ago after graduating. So, while in college, he developed a passion for fitness and bodybuilding, which led him to start his online personal training fitness coaching business called Earned Physiques. So far, he's competed in 4 bodybuilding shows and actively promotes natural bodybuilding. This drives his focus in his business to transform the lives of men through fat loss, muscle gain, and ultimately achieving their peak physical condition. In addition, he is an athlete and model for Alphalete Athletics, which has significantly shaped his career for the better. So thank you so very much for having on this podcast. I'm so excited to get talking to you.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that. That was a good introduction.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I first off want to start off by asking you, where did you come up with the name Earned Physiques? Because it's a very
Okay.
cool name.
Yeah. So my logo, it's fine if you don't have it pulled it up right now, but if you kind of look at it, it's my initials. So it's EP, Earned Physiques. But I was trying to figure out a business name. I started with the letter E, and at first, like my business for like over 2 years was just Eric Ogle one-on-one coaching. But with fitness coaching, like if you really want to scale, you got to make it into a brand, something that's just not like my name, because the goal is to scale it with some assistant coaches and like build out a whole team and eventually open up like a gym. But I was just thinking of like words that started with the letter E, and I just kept going back to the word earned because I don't know, like obviously with coaching, you got to earn your physique, and the coaching name kind of says itself. Like if you want to work with me, if you want to grow into the physique you're trying to get, like you got to earn it, just like anything else in life. And I feel like everything I've been blessed with, like being with Alphalete, being able to move out here, my business, I've earned all of it. Like I'd like to say I'm self-made. I really haven't had much help along the way. And I try to instill like the same idea into my clients. Like, yeah, like I'm here to guide you. I'm here to give you the formula, give you the diet plan, training program, the whole 9 yards. But if you really want it, like you got to earn it yourself and put in the work. So that's how I came up with it. And obviously like no other coach had it. So I went with that. Like there's so many other names I was kind of, comparing, but I searched them up on Instagram, like, damn, that's taken. But Earned Physiques was not. And I came up with the logo with it within like a day, and I really liked it. And then I tried to like kind of fit my initials in it. So if you look at it, they'll kind of say EO, but the P is obviously a P, but whenever you look at it, you can kind of see my initials in it. So it's like a little Easter egg, you know?
I always wondered. I know we've kind of talked about it because I realized your name started with an E, and Earned Physiques, of course, starts with an E as well, which I thought was pretty cool in of itself. But the whole backstory to it and how you just started out with the E and you just built it from there is really, really cool.
Oh yeah.
Um, I kind of want to dive into like what sparked your passion when it came to fitness and bodybuilding during your college years, because that of course was a huge turning point in deciding like what you actually wanted to do. I know you said that you were going to college for finance and accounting, so
Yeah.
going into fitness is a huge switch. So where did that passion kind of stem from? Was it sports, just hitting the
Yeah.
gym for the first time?
I could go all day about this. I'll try to condense my answer, but pretty much I got a great college experience. It was awesome, but I've always known that like I couldn't do a 9 to 5. That sounds super cliche, but I cannot sit at a desk all day. Like I'm sitting at a desk right now doing fitness coaching, but it's something I love. And I got a standing desk, so I make it work. But I worked one internship while I was in college. And the reason I chose accounting and finance is because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And my fraternity brothers were like, hey, like, go with accounting and get a good job with it. So I was like, all right. But I worked this internship for a summer, and it was the most stereotypical 9 to 5, like put on dress clothes every day, clocked into an office. Like I made good money, but it showed me that like no matter how much money you're making, even at a young age, like if you don't enjoy, a third of your day, 9 hours, then it's not worth doing it at all. So I was able to complete it because I knew I only had 3 months, but I was like always thinking, oh my God, like some people have to do this every day for years on end. Like there's no end date. Like you're doing it until you retire. So that one internship really showed me like I got to do something I love. So that summer is when I started posting on Instagram. And while I was in college, like I loved working out. And what really got me into it, like really hard, was my freshman year, joined a fraternity, started drinking a lot, started partying a lot, eating all the time, unlimited meal plan. I put on like 30 pounds, and I was always an athlete in high school. Like I was always in shape, but for the first time in my life, I was out of shape. Like did not look healthy, had a massive face, big gut. And when I came home for the summer, I was already watching a bunch of YouTubers, mainly Christian Guzman, the owner of Alphalete.
Mhm.
And I was like, it's time for me to lose some weight. So I lost like 40 pounds within a summer, came back like, unrecognizable at that point. Everyone was like, whoa, like, Eric, what happened? And I didn't really tell anyone what I was doing. So I came back and I looked completely different. And then from that point on, a bunch of people started asking me for fitness advice. A lot of my fraternity brothers want to start working out with me. And I started going to this one gym that was off campus because my gym campus had like no free weights. It was like a Planet Fitness.
Interesting.
So yeah, not fun. So this gym off campus, I would hit my leg days there. And then the owner of the gym was always like, dude, like, what are you doing here? Like, he knew what I was doing. Like at that point, I had a good physique. He's like, man, like we're looking for personal trainers. Do you want to start working for us? And I was like, absolutely, let's do it. So that's when I got involved with in-person training. Then I worked that internship, realized that life wasn't for me. So pretty much over time, as I grew my Instagram, things like that, got into online coaching, hired my first coach, did my first show. And then as I started to grow my Instagram, that's how the coaching really came about. And I've just been doing it ever since. And now the last like a little bit over a year, I've been doing it full time, left my job, and it's been the best thing ever. I love it. I'll be doing it for a long time.
That is so cool to be able to go like one summer, completely change everything. And that's what like sparked this
Oh
love
yeah.
and this incredible growth for you too, which is so cool. It kind
Yeah.
of is a good segue into what my next question was. I was wondering, like, how did you go from a boy in Georgia to now an athlete
Yeah.
and model? Like, that is a huge change. Like, did that happen overnight? Was it a slow growth? Like, where did that come in?
Yeah, I'd love to answer this. So definitely took some time, but like I said, Christian Guzman was one of the first YouTubers I started watching, and he came out with summer shredding in like 2018 or something.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until like a couple of years after that I got into everything. But I like kind of came up watching him and then some other YouTubers, even Ryan Dengler, who's another Alphalete athlete. And so like I just got really involved with like the whole summer shredding thing. I did the online challenge. I placed like top 50 the year before I competed in person. And by that point, like I knew I had the physique to do it. So my senior year of college was like the most fun but busiest like year of my life. I was like finishing out school. I was president of my fraternity. I was doing in-person training, and then I prepped for summer shredding. So my senior year, October, I came out here for a trip, and I like brought a friend with me, got a bunch of content, and I competed, and I got third in my class for my first show, which was
Wow,
sick.
that's
And
incredible.
that, yeah, I appreciate it. That weekend was like it sold me. I was like, I have to move out to Houston if I want to do this. Like, I got to be there. And so at that point, I always dreamed of being with Alphalete. Like I remember meeting all the athletes that weekend, a lot of the athletes that are still with the brand today, and that was always like a dream of mine. So,
Mhm.
finished out school, and by that point, I knew I was going to move to Houston. So as soon as I graduated, moved out here like a month after, and then I used to be with another brand called Raw Gear, which is Bradley Martin's brand,
Mhm.
and then I ultimately just outgrew it. And the day that I posted that I left, like I ended up leaving Raw Gear on good terms. Like they were a great company. It just wasn't for me. Christian, the owner of Alphalete, responded to my story, and he was like, "Hey man, I've been waiting for this to happen for a while. Would love to get you set up on the Alphalete roster. Like, are you interested in a discount code and becoming an athlete?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And like, it's crazy because that day was the first day that I had worn Alphalete to the gym. Alphalete was open by this point,
Yeah.
and I stopped wearing Raw Gear because I wasn't with the brand. So I put on an Alphalete shirt, and he texted me like as I pulled out Instagram. I was like going on there between sets, and I was like, no way. I was like, dude, I'm actually wearing Alphalete for the first time today again because I was always buying it in college. So it was like super cool how it came about. So I was an athlete for a while, and I was also an employee of the gym. I was doing membership sales, and he already kind of knew who I was. I'd done summer shredding another time by that point, so
Yeah.
I'd done show twice. He already knew who I was, so like that was really the turning point. And then it took about another year to really start being used as a model, and that started when I left my job and took Earned Physiques full time. I feel like they definitely gained a lot more respect for me for doing my own thing. Like I was making better sales for the brand. I showed them I was loyal because it'd been over a year I'd been with them, and so they started to bring me in for modeling. My physique was in a good spot, and now like 2 months ago, I modeled all the board shorts, which is sick because everyone that's competing at summer shredding is going to be wearing those. All the men's physique guys. So like, I'd say like humbly speaking, I'm one of the top male athletes now. Like they use me for almost every shoot, and a lot of the product photos. If you go on the website, I'm on a lot of those. But it's really made me enjoy modeling. But I don't want to model for like any other company. I love doing it for Alphalete because like I owe so much to the brand because that's what brought me out here. And Christian's done a lot for me, like without even knowing it. And it all started from just watching his YouTube videos.
Wow, that is truly remarkable. That is so cool that you had like it was just all in one day. It was kind of like that
Yeah.
overnight success sort of feeling, but it was a working up to that, of course.
Oh
But
yeah.
that one day was change your life.
No, big time.
That's
And like, luckily now, I'm on contract, so like I'm with the brand for until the end of the year. But like, I already know I'm going to renew it. Like, I feel like I'm going to be out here in Houston for a while, just because, like, there's a lot of people here doing fitness full time, but not everyone has the opportunity to like work with the brand. Like, I help the brand out, they help me out. Like, it's mutually beneficial. But
yeah.
I just love being like at the top of the company. Being able to represent it in a good light and just be able to do it full time. It's like a dream come true. I love it.
That's incredible. It's so true too, especially when you align with the companies like what they're trying to do in the world. And it seems like you align directly with Alphalete. Did that at any
Oh
point
yeah,
like kind of come out to you like this is their company like guidelines, this is like what they try to embrace in the fitness community and I align directly with that. I feel like obviously, but do you want anything to speak on that?
absolutely. Yeah. So like a big part of it is Christian CG. Like I feel like
Yeah.
he's a inspiration to so many people in the fitness industry, but I would love to do what he's doing one day, like open up my own facility. I don't know about having my own clothing brands because I love Alphalete and I know how difficult it is to run a brand. Like I'm no designer, designing clothes, but like I would love to do what he's doing, like run a large business within the fitness industry. He started out with online coaching as well, and that's how he like gained the capital to start the brand. And that's where I really see myself going. Like I really want to open up my own facility and like being able to design it. Like I was thinking today about like how I design my own gym, like have the Earned Physiques logo out front, like have my color scheme on all the equipment. Like I feel like I'm a really creative person. I could design a gym, definitely not design clothes, but that's like who I want to aspire to be one day. And I feel like he set the foundation of how the brand should be run. Like it's very like inspirational, like all about like hard work, being self motivated, self driven, and that's
Mhm.
what I'm all about. Like again, nothing against my previous brand. I was with Raw Gear, but I feel like it was more of like a streetwear like fashion brand, and that's not really my vibe. I'm looking more for like athleisure or like aesthetic, like simple looking clothes, which Alfred is all about. But I'd say the biggest thing that I wanted to join was like his movement that he's going on because it's a lot different than many other brands out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when you were talking about their values, I can attest, knowing you for the months that I have, you are very much aligned with like that dedication. I mean, like, look at you. You own a
I
business
appreciate
called
it.
Earned Physiques. So come on.
Oh yeah,
And also with the branding and everything. If you haven't already looked at his website on his link in his bio, go and check it out.
oh
It
yeah. Check it
is
out.
so well done. Yeah, and also while you're there, apply if you're a
Oh
man
yeah,
looking
you already
to enter
know.
the physique. But unbelievable. Your eye for colors and how it all works together. I have no doubt it would be a killer gym.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. That's the fun part. Like I really do see myself like I'm a super organized person.
Yeah.
Like I'm a little bit like undiagnosed OCD, but I've worked inside of a gym at Alpha, and that's a gym to such a big degree. I know exactly how everything works. I know how like, things were staffed, like even like the gym operations. I
Yeah.
feel like I could do it at like a very similar level and just, I don't know, just provide a really cool space for people like me that want to create content, run their business out of there, run their brand out of there, just have like a really dope space to where people can have that freedom, unlike an LA Fitness or like a commercial gym.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. Especially like because there's so many of like those big box gyms that don't really have that aesthetic and that appeal to people like us trying to build their business. Like going to an LA Fitness and trying to film is a
Yeah, it's
completely
not the
different story
same.
when you go to Alpha Land. Um,
Absolutely.
I kind of want to ask you some questions going into your business. So, in training men, which is a niche that I feel like is touched upon, but not to the depths at which it should truly be. What is the greatest struggle you find when it comes to men that come to you in achieving their fitness goals? Whether that be like mindset or like fitness or relationship issues. Like, what do you think is holding them back for all the men listening?
Yeah. I've said this many times, even to like, I brought on a new guy today and I was explaining to him the same thing. What I'm really good at is being able to flip people's switch. I call it like flip the switch all the time, but everyone's got that switch inside of them that goes from like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, you have one good week of dieting, one good week of training, then you fall back another week. Like you can't quite flip that switch, but when you can flip it for weeks and months on end and be like dialed 100% in, both feet into your fitness journey and accomplishing your goals,
Yeah.
like that's when you start to see good progress. And like I've had to do that before. Like I've been at points in my business like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, not able to flip that switch. But now, like after everything I've accomplished and just where I'm at in life, everything I've been through, I feel like I'm at a point where I'm very self-motivated, self-driven. And I know like not everyone thinks the same way, humbly speaking, but I'm able to like kind of unlock that out of people. And it's not something that's overnight. It takes time. And that's why I like working with clients for extended periods of time. But getting people to get to that point to where they're excited to go all in, that's another way to put it. Like being able to make someone go all in with, not just tracking one day they're eating and then they go off for a few days, or they get one workout in for the week and then they just skip the rest. Like getting them excited to get into that like 100% in and just have fun in the process. Like a lot of people think fitness is a chore or it has to be like something that's just, not enjoyable. But once you can make someone's plan to where they can enjoy it and work their lifestyle, then you can make it fun. And that allows them to flip that switch, go all in. And, a lot of it's going to be with mentality as well. Like I never like yell at my clients. I get on to them if they need to be improving, but I come to them in a very professional and friendly way, someone that they can comfortably speak to. Because a lot of them might not have that person in their life. They don't have that family member, like that friend that they can go to comfortably and talk about like whatever they're going through, their struggles. But I try to come at it from a very constructive, or what's the word? Constructive criticism. I try to give a lot of that and not come at them in like an attacking way, because nobody wants to be told they're doing a bad job or things like that. Like if you can come at it in a friendly way, but also be at the point where you're assertive and they take you seriously, then the sky's the limit in terms of how much progress they can make.
Yeah, absolutely. I love how the standpoint at which you come at it as a very wholesome point of view. You're
Mm-hmm.
like, I understand you have a life, I have a life, we all have lives. Let's figure out fitness for you. And that's like what one-on-one coaching should be, rather than a like cut and like what is it, cookie cutter sort of
Yeah,
point of view.
absolutely.
Because everyone has their own limitations, whether that be
Mm-hmm.
how many days a week they can go to the gym, how long they can be in the gym, and to be able to navigate that and help your clients that way in that method is going to reap so much benefits for you
Oh
and
yeah.
for them as well. So that's incredible. I love that. Um, so I wanted to ask you, kind of going back to like Alphalete, what has been some of your key takeaways from Alphalete? And the way that it wraps it in is, how did those affect you in your own coaching business? So like, what have you taken from them that you've now applied at Earned
Like,
Physiques?
yeah, good thing. Like consistency. Alphalet's super consistent on like everything, like new drops, innovation. Like they got a massive team that works for them. So I do see myself being able to build out a team similar to what Alphalete has, because it's a large company, but at the same time, it's not like Gymshark where they got all these multiple different offices, things like that. Like everything's run out of Alpha Land. And me being there, I've learned a lot about business from Alphalete just because their entire team's upstairs. I'm cool with everyone. But they're consistent. I mean, they all show up every day. Like, yeah, they have essentially like a 9 to 5, but like those are fun jobs. Like they're all working together. They're working hard. There's a lot of communication. They have like that small business feel while still having a large team, but everything's run out of one place. But they're consistent. Like there's drops every month. The women's side of Alphalete's much bigger, and I can still promote those, but like they never go a month without not dropping absolutely nothing. Always
Yeah.
pumping out content. They're always like not getting on athletes, but they expect us as athletes to consistently post. Like in our contracts, we have deliverables. So all that consistency I've applied definitely to my coaching business. Like I get up every day. I got my routine, and I love to sit at my desk and like start work for the day. I have like certain tasks every day that are non-negotiables, whether it's checking up on my clients, writing new programs, reaching out to clients every 3 days to make sure they're good, check-ins once a week, whatever it may be. Like you got to stay consistent. And with running your own business, like it's easy to take time off. Like you can go a week without working or take a day off because nobody's telling you to do it. But if you want it to be successful and if you want to maintain your reputation, if you want your clients to stay happy, then you got to show up every day, like no matter what. So even though I'm not working like a 9 to 5 at all, like I've worked that job at Alphalete, I see how they work at Alphalete Athletics upstairs at Alphaland, and I've been able to apply all that to my business. And also, I love to go to Alphaland and work in the athlete lounge. Like, there's always other athletes working in there. Like, a lot of people are doing what I'm doing, online coaching, doing content, whatever it may be. But I feel like I can look at my business kind of like Alphalete, just at a much smaller scale. Like, eventually, I can have bring on someone to my team to work on content, then another person for assistant coaching, then another person for blah blah blah. The list goes on. But that's the fun part about business. It's like Adrian always says, it's like a long-term like school project you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I always explain business as a science experiment because you're always testing different things. You're always doing more stuff. And it's very true. It's like a big, long school project that you just never stop
Yeah, it
on.
just keeps going for
Yeah,
sure.
which is really fun too because there's always something new to work on, and you're never going to have a dull moment in business.
Hmm.
Question about you for like going to Alphaland and working at their suite and stuff like that. Has there been anybody in particular that has like changed your business outlook and just speaking to them in a sense of like they're owning their own one-on-one coaching business and you just having a mere conversation? Like who have you met that has given you some really valuable information?
Yeah, you know him well, but Adrian. So him and I met at the old Alphalete gym. Actually, like before I even moved here, I met him there, and he was doing the same thing I was doing. He was like doing social media back then. I wasn't coaching back then when I met him, but he was already working with some online clients. But like
Mm.
I met him, he was a part of this group called MBG, which was like this team of content creators, bodybuilders, things like that. He competed. He did summer shredding. So we
Yeah.
met at the gym for the first time there. And since then, we just became really good friends. Like, this, but he's my neighbor now. It's his birthday today. So we're going to dinner tonight. But he's doing exactly what I'm doing, just at a much greater level. So he's been a second mentor to me, other than like, being on AR, having the whole team there. Like, I've learned a lot from y'all, but he's been like the person I can go to in person and learn a lot from. But he's also like my best friend out here. And I wouldn't have met him if it wasn't for like Alphalete Gym, which is now Alphaland. And we train at the same time, usually every day. We live like 10 minutes from the gym. And like that experience, like just meeting him showed me the amount of people that I could be around here that are doing similar things, doing exactly what I want to do. So I'd say he's like the number one person who's been an influence on me that I met at the gym.
Yeah. No, Adrian, I can also attest to that. Like he is one of those people where when you meet him, he will just give you value no
Oh
matter who
yeah.
you are and what you're doing. He always has
Sometimes he
stuff.
won't shut up though. Like you gotta be like, all right, Adrian, I'm good.
I'm sending him that clip. No, yeah, but he's so valuable. He has so much information in his head and he just loves to share it, which is such a great personality trait of someone, especially in the business realm. Kind of
Yeah.
going into that, actually, I have a question for you. What are some key habits and things like that? Because I know you brought up your routine, but what are some key habits that you believe are, well, not necessarily even believe, but you see that are in high achievers like yourself, like Adrian, and I know Manning as well. I had him on the
Oh yeah.
podcast. But like, what are some key habits that you guys have that kind of make you stand out for the rest?
Yeah. So what I've really seen lately is like the people I surround myself are very faithful, and that's something I've really gotten into like the last 6 months, like being all in with my faith. So that's been amazing. So that's just brought a lot of peace to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
leads the way, has lessened a lot of my anxiety. So just trusting that like God's plan is working in my life. So having that, like reading into the scripture every day, like Adrian's done a lot for me with that, just helping me out with like start here, read this book, read that book. Giving me a lot of guidance on it. So not only that, just being faithful, but also like it goes back to the consistency thing. Like me, Adrian and Manning were like really good friends, and Adrian and Manning both have been on this podcast, but like we don't take days off. Like during the days, like we're doing our own thing, we're grinding, we're working. It's not like we're just out like, I don't know, like riding bicycles and just like blowing our time. Like we work during the day, and then at night, like we'll usually get together, hang out, and we'll have constructive conversations. Like that's another thing. Like if you're around people, like look at the conversations you're having and see if those are improving your life or if they're bringing you back. If y'all are just sitting around like drinking, talking about high school pastimes, and like those aren't the people you need to be around. But we talk a lot about business, self-development, like our faith. Like yeah, we'll have like normal conversations as men, but a lot of our conversations are focused on growth, like in all areas, not all just about business. But other habits are like I've been really good about this is waking up early. Like you're not going to find a successful person that says don't wake up early. Like, yeah, like some people's routine will work for them, but I'm like a big believer in if you wake up early, you start attacking the day while other people are still asleep, you can get a lot done, especially in this field because like our clients are up during the day, they're going to be texting us, social media, everyone's on during the day. But if you can get up a little bit earlier before everyone else and have some deep work, then you can get ahead for the day and get a lot of your busy work out of the way. So I'm a big believer in that. Also, like something I've really started to do to help lessen my anxiety is like staying off my phone the first 90 minutes of the day. And
Yeah.
that's helped a whole lot because again, in our career, like everything's done through laptop and phone, like your phone's going off all day, notifications. So the first thing you're doing in the morning is looking at your phone, reading all your notifications. You already get stressed because you're not even out of bed and you're already trying to deal with work.
Yes.
So if you put your phone on do not disturb, just give the first 90 minutes to yourself, have a routine. Like for me, I'll go walk, read a book. I'll read some scripture every day. That helps lessen my anxiety. Start the day like 90 minutes later, around 8 o'clock a.m. And that's when I really start to get going with my work. But that's another big habit that I really do feel like a lot of successful people do as well, as they have time for themselves during the day. Like, yeah, you can work hard, but you don't need to be on your phone 14, 15 hours a day, constantly doing that. That's only going to, I don't know, degrade your mental state, I'd say.
No, absolutely. I've had periods of time where I've worked for that long, and it really gets you. And a lot of people who are trying to go after those big dreams, those big goals, they feel like they need to stay on their computer or they need to stay on their phone 24/7,
Mhm.
constantly work. But allowing yourself to remove, it's like recovery from the gym. Like you have to
Yeah, less
remove
is
yourself from
more.
the gym. Yeah, you have to sleep and it's like recover again. But doing the same thing with like your phone and your work and just allowing yourself that time is going to amplify your work because when you get back to it, you're going to feel refreshed. You're going to have a clearer mind and you're going to be able to get after it 10 times better and 10 times harder. Um,
Absolutely.
100%. So a few things I also took away from that, I also do as well, that I feel like a lot of people underestimate is like having a schedule. Like that's what I took a lot from is like you have a schedule. You wake up, you don't look at your phone, you go and you walk, you read scripture, and that routine and that schedule keeps you in line for the day. And if you don't have that, then I don't know if you've gone on vacation. I mean, you did go on vacation recently where you went to your brother's wedding, and like if you didn't have that same structure, if you didn't do it in the morning, I'm take it you probably felt a little bit off.
Oh yeah, 100%. I love the routine though. Like I love traveling for sure, but
Yeah.
there's nothing better than having like a structured routine. If just, I like even in school growing up, like as a kid, you
Yeah.
have a routine, but when you're an adult, especially an entrepreneur, like nobody's telling you exactly what to do. So you kind of have to make that routine yourself. And the better you stick to it, the more growth you're going to see.
100%. 100%. So I know we kind of talked about this here and there, but I
Oh
know
yeah.
you're the big conspiracy theorist. So I'd love to hear some of your conspiracies and like maybe your top three. We'll go into each one individually. So tell me like your first one,
Oh yeah.
and then I'm so excited to hear about this because I didn't know this about you until Adrian told me.
Yeah. So like when I was younger, there's this one YouTuber I watched all the time. I forget his name, but like there's definitely some ridiculous conspiracy theories out there. Like I'm not crazy at all, but like I did write down some like three that we can kind of go over today that like
Oh,
I
perfect.
love talking about with people. And the first one, like I'm not trying to get all political at all, but this is definitely a political subject. But the
Yeah.
COVID vaccine, and I have a lot of conviction in this. I don't have it, and that's the number one thing I'm proud to say. I will never get that vaccine. I'm so glad I didn't get it, but like so much. surrounded that like I just don't agree with, and the fact that like now there's so many adverse health effects coming out with it, and people in my life are going through them. So it's very real to me. Like my dad, for example, got the COVID vaccine, and he's now dealing with like severe arthritis. I forget what the name of it. Like he's fine during the day, but at night he literally will get like crippled. Like he can barely like move. He'll sit down in his chair and like his joints will get super stiff, and he never had dealt with this at all. So it took him like 8 months to get an appointment at a rheumatologist. He went in, told her the symptoms, and the first thing she said was, "Did you get the COVID vaccine?" And my dad was like, "Yeah." And she's like, she asked which one he got. I think it was Pfizer, and then he got a couple boosters. And she's like, "Yep, the exact vaccine you have. We've seen like countless reports of the same condition you're dealing with. There's a certain name for it. He's on medication now, which has helped a whole lot. But before that, my dad's like never really had arthritis like that. Like he's had hip replacements. Like he played football in college. Like he got like a knee replacement. But it's like it's so sad to see because I'll see him at night. He sits in his chair and his hands will literally like get stuck. Like I was at home with my brother during Christmas, and my brother had to like literally grab his arm and bring it up because he was in so much pain. Like he couldn't move, such bad arthritis. But he was so convicted. He's like, I wish I wouldn't have got that damn shot. He got all the boosters as well, but he had to get it for work, which is another thing I don't agree with is employers making their employees get it during that time, because a lot of these corporations would get like tax breaks from it if you mandated the vaccines for your employees. But it all goes back to like big pharma, the federal government, all these large corporations doing it for profit. But what happens when you throw something in this vaccine that you don't tell the general population about? More health problems. What comes with more health problems? More money being dumped into big pharma, into the medical industry. And like my dad wouldn't be spending all this money on medications, having to go through insurance, allowing insurance companies to get profit off of it if it wasn't for this vaccine that not only my dad, but like millions of Americans are dealing with adverse health effects. Like another good friend of mine had to wear a heart monitor for 48 hours because she got the vaccine, and like a month after she got it, started having heart problems, like heart palpitations, skipping beats. And that was what, over 2 years ago. And she's still having to like figure out what's going on, but it's from the COVID vaccine. So
Crazy.
like, sorry for going on a tangent, but that's just
No,
something that I hate to see in society because like it was shoved down our throats by like the mass media, and some people like it's totally bipartisan. Some people are like me; they're like, "Screw the vaccine! I'm never getting it. I'm glad I didn't." And other people like, "Get vaccinated!" Like, you're an awful person if you don't get it. There's people dying, blah blah blah. But it's like I'm not going to put my own health in risk just because of this vaccine. Of it apparently, you know, lessening the spread of COVID, which that's a whole nother topic we can get into. Like we can
definitely.
save that. But the one I wanted to talk about in specific is the vaccine because there's been so many stories of people having weird side effects from it, people dying from it. A lot of people are having heart issues about it. And then other things like, arthritis. I've seen people having like skin problems from it. I guess not really talked about on the news, but like many people in my life have discussed it and how like even the vaccine made it worse for them. They got extremely sick from it. Like I know with a lot of vaccines, it's got like a hint of the disease itself in it to build up your immunity. But like I don't know. That's just something I'm passionate about. I will never get that thing, even if COVID returns. Even during it, I just felt like something was off with it. Like it was so pushed by society and the mass media, unlike any other vaccine. And that, COVID in itself was just blown up out of proportion on like social media. Like it's a terrible disease. Yeah, like people die from it. And I hate that people had to go through that. People lost family members, like, infants dying from it. It's awful. But like at the end of the day, the common flu is just as dangerous. There's cancer out there killing people every day, and that's not talked about, But yeah,
No.
sorry for
Oh my
ranting.
gosh. No, I was like, go off because I am the same exact way. I don't really state my opinions much towards people or like to people at all because I feel like people generally don't really
Yeah,
care.
for sure.
But I agree 100%. I did not get the vaccine. I thought it was sus the entire time. My mom was freaking out just because she was like family freaking out, her kids. And I was like, Mom, I guarantee you in about a year, it's going to come out and it's going to be a load of BS.
Oh
And
yeah,
sure enough, here we are, and they're telling us to treat it like the flu. Yes, COVID is terrible, but I feel like it was just another strain of a flu. but they feared people into it, and it's so sad to see. My aunt and my uncle passed away in January because of it.
Gosh, I'm
My
so sorry to
uncle
hear
was,
that.
oh, I mean, it happens. We've all had someone affected by it, I feel like, at this point.
Yeah,
My uncle was a health nut. Like, I have a photo of him in front of the Statue of Liberty flexing his bicep, and you could see, and he was like 60 something at that age.
yeah, dang.
And he was just so shredded. He was always working outside. He lived in Texas. And he all of a sudden randomly had all of these issues with his health. And in January, him and my aunt passed away. And it was just crazy to see how it was all pushed upon us. And even if you look, I don't know, I think you're a little bit into stocks. I know me and Adrian were talking about it, but if you look
Somewhat.
at the stock market during that time, it was literally just a cash drop and then an extreme spike up to sell people
Yeah,
out, or stop people out. But it's crazy what to look at it like what the government and big pharma will do just for money. It's not like they don't have enough of it; they have plenty of it, but looking at it in the long run, no, I 100% agree with your standpoint on it all, and I love to hear that someone else has that standpoint as well. Just because it's so sad to see from an outside perspective and trying to like look at it from a big scope. Do you have any like conspiracies with this, like in depth of like this is why they're doing this or anything of the nature?
so, okay, take this with a grain of salt. I don't fully
Yeah.
believe this, but just think about it. Like, I feel like the country was split. Like, half the people got it, half the people did.
Yep.
What if there's something in this vaccine? I don't know. This sounds crazy. I don't know. The government has a switch somewhere, and then everyone that got this vaccine, whether it's like some genetic mutation, I don't even know, they flip this switch, and all of a sudden, people just turn into like zombies, or
Zombie.
everyone just starts like. I'm not saying like I don't think that'll actually happen, but I'm just saying like what if, because this was like a national like um emergency. Like 2020 was the craziest year of everyone's life. Like
Yep.
nobody's ever been through something like that, and with all the amount of vaccines that went out, all the booster shots, what they try to do is get everyone possible, no matter who you were, to get this vaccine. Offering it, but in Texas, I remember this. They were offering there's signs on the road, $200 if you get the COVID vaccine. I swear to God, like people are offering cash bonuses to get the vaccine, offering everything to get it. But what if, I don't know, the government has some switch where they're like, all right, everyone that's got COVID, we're going to flip this switch, and everyone just turns. I don't know, but
Turns
I
into
just don't believe
absolute
that.
monsters.
But it's something to consider.
Yeah, no, that's so funny. That's like you never know. You, like you said before, like they might have slipped something into these ingredients that because who like no one reads the terms and conditions on
Not at
anything. They
all.
just put
Yeah,
the ingredients.
exactly.
Like, shoot
100%.
me with this up. They might have slipped something in at the end that no one knows about it. I think the idea of like chips being in the vaccine was definitely like a conspiracy
Yeah,
possibility at one point.
100%.
No, I love to. I think it's so funny to hear that sort of stuff. No, but you never know. You truly never know.
Never know.
Uh, Wild. Do you want to go into your COVID conspiracy, or do you want to go into another one that you have on your list?
Yeah, like I should be prepared about that. Like, I don't know. I feel like was COVID like made in a Chinese lab somewhere? I don't know. I
Oh,
feel like it was definitely like man-made for sure because it's no coincidence that it happened in 2020 when election was happening going on. Like everything was so like bipartisan, all that like um, the race divide was at such like an all-time high. Like all of this stuff just happened at like when everything was at such like a bad point. I feel like COVID took a lot of I don't know, just attention away from like other things going on in the real world. And like every day, if you go on the news, all that's talked about was COVID, 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 and like other issues that were very prominent going on were totally just like swept under the rug. But
mhm.
I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I'm just the most passionate about the vaccine just because it's such a real thing that's going on. Like COVID, I feel like we'll never know like how it actually came about. Like there's so many different theories about it, things like that. I feel like it's something we just truly will never know. But like when you see it in real life, like these adverse health effects going on, people like regretting time and time again, they're like, damn, I shouldn't have got that vaccine. Like it just makes you really question like just society in general. And like if this were attempted to be happening again, like it would be so much different if they tried to push another vaccine or another mask mandate. That's another thing. Like I don't even care about talking about. I'll talk about it openly on social media. Like if you wear a mask, like you're a clown. I'm sorry, but like if you think that dirty piece of cloth sitting over your mouth is going to do anything and save lives, I don't agree with you personally, and I will stand by that. People that drive in their cars by themselves and wear masks, are you kidding me? Like you're a
Walks
bot.
outside
Yeah, you're a bot. Going onto airplanes and then flight attendants kicking people off flights because their mask is like this
under their
under their
nose.
nose. I'm like, you're sitting 4 inches away from the person next to you. There's 100 people encapsulated in this 10 foot wide airplane. Like these masks are not going to do a dang thing. I'm sorry, but that's something I'm so passionate about. Like I'm sure they help maybe 1%, but we're within 6 feet of each other. The whole social distancing thing was just another way to spread people apart and just cause for like mass hysteria, mass chaos, get people afraid. Like it's just ridiculous. Oh,
Yeah.
it drives me nuts.
No, I 100% agree. And it caused so much issues. Like it closed businesses down. It caused everyone to become depressed, anxious, stressed out because they were all enclosed in their homes. We felt like we couldn't go outside like during the like really deep depths of it where we didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
And it caused so much havoc. And it's so sad because we're now even seeing that the repercussions of it still to this day with prices of things and just how the world is going. I don't think it's going to take a very long time for us to recover from that 1 year of, I
one
mean, it was
hundred
like
percent.
2 years, but
Yeah,
still, no, I agree 100%. Like it was blasphemy. And it's so sad to see how many people were led. It was like me and my mom talk about it a lot because she has a very strong opinion on this. Let's just say it aligns with ours as well.
yeah.
But
Again,
she feels like everyone was led by sheeps, like
oh
sheeps
yeah,
into a
easily.
pen, and it's so true because so many people were so fooled by this facade that it was like the biggest mask, not on our mouths but over our eyes, that could have ever happened throughout the entire
Yeah,
world.
one
And they
hundred
just
percent.
pulled that card so freaking quick, and it worked for a majority of people. So
Yeah. Then another thing like that I'm very passionate about is like why all these gyms are being shut down during COVID. Like my gym shut down for months, and the people that generally go to gyms are the more healthy ones. Gyms,
mhm.
you can still like social distance, but you're gonna allow flights to occur. You're gonna allow like transportation to keep running. Like obviously you need grocery stores open, but you're gonna allow all these other establishments to stay open, even restaurants. But people that want to go to the gym and keep up with their health and fitness, you're going to shut them down. Like no, like I remember like I went to a private gym back in Fayetteville, Georgia, because I got sent home from school during COVID, and my
Yep.
gym owner was so pressed. He was trying to like protest against the city, and I agreed with him. I'm like, dude, like this is awful. Like people that are still healthy, not that don't have COVID, should still be allowed to come here. But yet we can go to the grocery store around people that are probably contaminated. We can still go on flights with 2 inches of space between the other person, but it's okay because we have a piece of cloth over our mouth.
Our face. Like, make this make sense. Like
Yeah,
definitely like looking back on it too, like I think it was just because of the hysteria of it all and everyone's like, what is going on? People were just like abiding. But if you
oh yeah,
look back on it, it was just absolute, it was stupid. Like it was so
I
stupid.
agree.
None
I
of the
agree.
rules were aligned.
But the
Um
thing is, like, I'm not afraid talking about it because so many people do agree with us. But during the time, a lot of people didn't know what to think because the media portrayed it in such a frightening way. But now looking back, people realize like how, for lack of a better word, brainwashed people were, and how like nobody wants to go through that again. Nobody wants to sit inside, get depressed, have things shut down. Nobody wants to wear a mask again. Like everyone I went to school with during that time, even professors were like, we don't want to wear this. I'm sorry, but like this is the rule that's mandated by the university. Like nobody at the time wanted to do that. Like, yeah, there's people like the people I told driving their cars solo with a mask on, the people that just ate everything up that, believed it all. There were that people for sure, but the vast majority are on the same page as us. Like people aren't stupid.
yeah. And especially after the fact and like seeing everything afterwards, I yeah, for sure. I do want to bring up before I forget, there is a vitamin. So my naturopath brought up to me, and my mom, because my mom got the vaccine because she had to, but she's starting to experience some symptoms. But there is a vitamin, and I'll send it over to you. And then for anybody listening, I will put it in the show notes. It's a simple supplement, but you can take it. It actually helps break up what the COVID shot
Oh,
did,
wow.
whatever was in it. I'll have to find it and I'll send it over to you. So maybe you can even
Yeah,
offer it to your dad
definitely.
or anybody else that you know that got it.
Yeah, I'll check
It
it
helps
out.
just like break that up in your system, and it's just like a simple supplement or vitamin that you take. And I know my mom's been
Sweet.
taking it, and she said that it's helping whatever she's going through. But yeah, for sure, I'll send that right over to you
Yeah,
afterwards.
sounds good.
Yeah. So what other conspiracies do you have? I
I mean,
definitely
this,
want to dive into at least one
yeah,
more.
I wrote down another one, but it has to do like kind of along the lines with coaching and like dieting, but like how I don't know, I don't know if I'd put like the federal government under this umbrella, but like large food corporations like intentionally poisoning food and like the average American diet for like just mass profit anywhere else. Like now the average American diet and just the way foods are produced, even like just a lot of your packaged and processed things on the insides of grocery stores are just
Mhm.
full of so much garbage that like a lot of foods that are in the US are banned in other countries because they're proven to just degrade your health.
Yeah.
But you know what happens when you put a lot of MSG and addictive chemicals into these food? People come back to buy more. And what happens when people buy more and their health goes down the drain? They go to the doctor. Who's profiting off the doctors? Big pharma. It's all just like one system. And do I think like the federal government's intentionally trying to poison and kill people? Like, I don't know, but I do think that large food corporations are definitely like contaminating food. Like a lot of it's just processed food. Even like the meat industry on some meats are like it's awful what they put in there, the amount of hormones, things like that,
Yeah.
and like there's no questioning on why like America's the fattest country or most obese country in the world. Like I'm pretty sure it is. But I mean, food is just like every year it gets worse and worse. You go to the grocery store, look at the back of an ingredient label, it'd be like 30 different things. And with the more I've gotten into coaching and nutrition, the more cognizant I am and the more money I'm spending on my groceries on like quality stuff that like I've checked, whether it's online, check the ingredient label and make sure it's not full of a bunch of garbage. And also another thing is, again, I don't know if this is the federal government doing it, but like fluoride being put in water. Like there's so much water now where fluoride's in it, and there's like so many studies on how like bad fluoride is for you. But that's something you can't really taste within water. But what happens with it? Like people are getting more like mental illnesses from it, clinical illnesses, like more babies are being born with defects. ADHD is at like an all-time high, and a lot of that's linked to fluoride. Cognitive issues, like the list goes on of like what fluoride does, and you never know. With even this Dasani right here, like I don't know what's in here at
Yeah.
all.
No, I
So
the two things that you touched on, I it's funny that I mean, both conspiracy one and two, I think it's funny how they both linked up to like federal government making money. Because honestly, if
yeah,
you look at it, it most likely is. We don't have a definite answer, but they're probably not. They might not be intentionally doing like putting all this stuff into our food, but it's definitely helping them out in the long run. Whether that be collecting or
yeah,
having people collect Social Security when they're older because people aren't going to be living as long,
yeah,
or anything, getting drugs or anything to help whatever is going on. Now that like the Ozempic crisis is happening, and now they're
yeah,
giving it to kids, like make this make sense. Well, there's one answer we have, but either way, no, it's crazy what is happening with our food and like how it's like you said, majority of American food is banned in other countries, and there is
yes,
a reason for that. Like look what Chick-fil-A is doing. I forgot exactly what they're doing. I know that they're getting rid of like something good in their chicken, and like I saw a post on it, and
I know what
everyone
you're
was talking
talking about.
about,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm like, I'm never eating at Chick-fil-A again. I'm like, obviously they're going to still have their group of people that are diehard Chick-fil-Aers, but like why are we straying away from the good stuff instead of trying to drive towards better stuff to better the
yeah,
like the whole country?
100%.
It doesn't really make sense. Or like the lab meat. Do you have anything to say
Yes.
on lab meat?
I couldn't tell you too much about like the meat industry, but I mean, if you go to Walmart, there's chicken breasts. They're the size of like an entire chicken. Chickens are not supposed to be that big. And why do they do it? So the portion sizes are bigger. I mean, people that are buying chicken breast over like a pack of Oreos are probably in much better health. But like, I'm afraid to pick up that types of chicken because it's like they're just pumping them with drugs. Like it's
Yeah,
crazy. And
100%.
it's funny when you see this stuff because like, I don't know, even like 5, 10 years ago, I feel like meat over the years has just gotten so much bigger, especially
Yeah,
like chicken breast because I buy it all the time. But like, oh, it's like you don't know what all that stuff's doing to your health. Like, yeah, it might be a cleaner food source, chicken breast, but like when it's just the chickens themselves are just pumped with all these drugs, and so they can just mass produce more, sell more. The portion sizes are bigger, so the manufacturer is going to make more. The grocery store is going to make more. It's just all a chain effect. Like everyone's profiting.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I have one last question because I know you have to run today. But I actually have two questions for you. First off,
Yeah.
what do you look for in the grocery stores for people who are listening? They're like, what do I even look for at this point? Because it seems like everything is bad. Like, what are you looking for, like in your meats and other like veggies and things that of that nature, to make sure that you're eating the proper foods?
Yeah. So I'd say like whenever I start working with clients, like a lot of them come to me eating the average American diet. But when
Yeah.
you go to a Walmart, where do you find the majority of people? They're on the insides of the aisles. They're not on the outside. So that's the first thing you can do is start focusing on the outside of a grocery store. Granted, there's going to be great things on the inside. You just have to find them. There's going to be
Mhm.
Whole Foods in there, but like 80% of like your Whole Foods are going to be on the outside, right? But it's flip flop. 80% of people are on the inside of grocery stores, and 20% of their foods are coming from the outside. So if you can flip flop that, that's the first thing you can do. Like limit the amount of packaged and processed things you're eating. Also, like when it comes to things like eggs, like I used to always buy just the cheapest eggs, but you get what you pay for. You know, if you spend a couple extra bucks and you get like pasture raised, cage free eggs, things like that, they're gonna be much better. Like an egg yolk should be more of like a almost like an orange color, not like the
Mhm.
light yellow. Like some egg yolks be looking gray. Like I don't even know because there's so much hormones and they're treated awfully. But think about
Yeah.
it: if you have eaten an egg from a chicken that's cooped up next to all these other chickens under an extreme amount of stress, like that stress, all that anxiety, like that chicken being under such extreme circumstances is going to pass into that egg. It's just like how life works. But if you have a chicken that's cage free, organic, or like farm raised, things like that, the yolk, you can tell just by the color how much better and more quality it is. It's going to cost you a couple extra bucks, but it's going to say on the egg carton, like organic, cage free, pasture raised, whatever. And the same thing for your meats. Like it's going to be an extra dollar or two for some ground beef. Instead of like buying just like the tubes of like just whatever's processed, blah, blah, blah. But I'd say like a good thing to do is always like while you're in the grocery store, like look up the food that you're looking and like, check like the fact check it, see what the ingredients are in it are from. If it's like any sort of meat, like see where it's coming from, see how the animal was treated.
Mhm.
But I'd say like you always get what you pay for. So like in my opinion, you should be willing to invest. Like investing into your grocery bill is investing into your health. Like if you're just always going to go for the cheapest things to put in your cart, then your health might follow suit. But if you're spending a couple extra bucks going with more organic things, you're going to other grocery stores. Not saying you have to go to Whole Foods. Like I don't shop at Whole Foods; it's so expensive there. But even at like a Walmart, you can find great stuff there and keep it like pretty budget friendly.
Yeah,
When you're
absolutely.
looking, yeah, even like veggies, instead of going for something that's frozen, that's probably not going to be treated the best, it's going to be cheaper. Go get fresh produce from the produce section, put it in bags, and like, keep it in your refrigerator, keep it clean, and wash your foods like before you eat it. But just the little things like that, taking the few extra minutes to research what foods you're buying, looking it up online, looking at the ingredient label. Like if something has 15, 20 plus ingredients in it, I don't care what it is. Like, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Most of your food should be just one ingredient. It's got like a laundry list of things. Then that shows you it's going to be loaded with a bunch of processed like additives, preservatives, GMOs, things like that, MSG. You never know.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's like if you think of yourself as a car, if you put the cheapest gas into it, it's not going to run that well for that
Yeah,
long. If you put
exactly.
the higher gas, the higher octane, spend that extra couple dollars, think of all of the lifetime you will get
Yeah.
from the gas and the car itself.
Yeah. It's going to add years
So
onto
that's
your
what I
life.
yeah, absolutely. My very last question for you was is I always ask this at the end of all my podcasts. Is there anything that's kind of coming to you that you want to leave the viewers as a sense of either like a quote that you really like that really resonated with you or something just to help further their growth?
Yeah, I honestly don't know where I found this quote, but I tell it to myself all the time. But like everything you could ever want is right in front of you. You just have to go out and grab it. And it might be a little bit tough to find out how to grab it, but it's right in front of you. Like, for example, what I'm doing, everything's in front of me. If I have a phone, my laptop, I can accomplish anything I want, whether it doesn't even have to be a fitness coaching business. If I wanted to start a clothing brand or start any sort of coaching business, if I wanted to, I don't know, go out and like my goal is to create my own gym. Like I can do all that. I have all the tools available in front of me. But if you have Wi-Fi, if you have a roof over your head, like you got all the resources and knowledge in the world like available at your fingertips. Like everything, not everything you could ever need, but a lot of what you probably do need is available free online. So do the research, like read, look into books. A lot of like what I've been able to accomplish come from like just reading self-development books, like figuring out more about myself as a person. But like a lot of people know exactly what they want in life. If I ask anyone like what their dream is, they'd be able to tell me. But they just think they can't get it. It's all a matter of self-limiting beliefs. But if you just put to use everything that's right in front of you, just go out and get it. Like that simple as that. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but even goes back to the name of my coaching business. Like anything worth it in life is like you got to earn it. It's going to take hard work, consistency, and a lot of passion and just patience to get it. But there's no reason you can't get it at all.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful ending.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
appreciate
Happy
you.
to be here.
Thank you. Do you want to let everyone know your Instagram handle? I will put it in the show notes as well. But just so anybody who wants to find you can go and look for
Yeah,
you.
it's just my name with an underscore at the end. So Eric Ogle underscore, all one word. So ERICOGLE underscore. And yeah, I'm on Instagram like 90% of the time. So like you can find me on TikTok, same username, YouTube as well. But I'm on Instagram like every day. Send me a DM.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. I truly appreciate you. It was a blast being able to speak to you and pick your brain on a few different topics, and it was really fun as well. So thank
Oh
you again.
yeah, thank you for having me. Had a blast.
Of course. Awesome.